bon dia from Atauro Island. This morning I'm going for a walk from Beloi halfway to Untitled, which is probably one of the biggest villages up in the hills, and then there's a church which I've been to kind of before, which is there's a track that goes from there which takes me down to Villa, which is the main city on the island, and then I'll get a tuk-tuk back to Beloi. So it should be a good loop, a reasonable amount of climbing up the hill, which is why I'm starting pretty early in the morning, and let's see how I get on. Quite a contrast from yesterday. The Saturday markets are pretty bustling here in Beloi, but on Sunday morning there's nothing happening. Tuesdays and Thursdays is a little bit of a market because there's some ferries coming in, but Saturday is the kind of main event of the week. Now hopefully you can see some trees moving, and we get the impression it's quite windy. So they are trade winds that hit Atauro Island between around May and September, which are pretty constant, not gusty, they're just constant wind, which is actually quite refreshing because it's like sitting in front of a fan and it helps keep the temperature down. So it's good for hiking, but it's not so good for snorkeling. And diving's okay because you kind of get below it, but waters can be a bit rough, so you have to kind of snorkel in the morning when it's not quite as windy, but certainly by the afternoon it often picks up. So good for hiking, not so good for water activities. It's possibly the most boring stretch of road in Timor-Leste. It's one of the very rare flat and straight pieces. So this goes from Beloi to Villa. It takes about an hour to walk. Luckily I'm not going the whole way, I'm just going out towards the Compass dive resort, and then the road to Untitled, or probably a rough track, should start just across from there shortly. Unusually there is actually some signage on Atauro Island, and so I'm going to follow this one and head up here, which is kind of between the Atauro Dive Resort and Compass, and then this road should lead me around to the left onto the road to Untitled. This is pretty much a main road on Atauro Island. It'd be pretty difficult on a motorised vehicle, but it's good for walking on. The road has basically turned into what looks like a dry riverbed, but this seems like the right way according to the map off the Atacama website, which is the Atauro Island kind of tourism board. So let's hope it gets me where I hope it's going to get me. And somewhere I went well off track, but I'm hoping this will take me back to where I need to be. Always a bit of an adventure. Navigation's not straightforward in Timor. Just taking a quick breather. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Just been walking uphill. It's quite brutal, the combination of sort of 30 degrees heat, high humidity and hills. I may not be on the right path, but at least I'm going uphill, so hopefully that will work out. I've climbed over 200 metres quite steeply. I feel a bit lightheaded, and I might throw up my breakfast, so I think I need a rest. I've been hiking for 3 months now in Timor-Leste, so you would have thought I'd be a bit used to the climate, but a bit of a struggle this morning. Possibly the 4 eggs and 4 or 5 sausages for breakfast was may have been a mistake, but I needed some food to keep me going. I think I just need to have a rest here in the shade for a bit. Looking at the top of the map, I've still got another probably 200 metres to climb until I start going downhill, so maybe I need to slow my pace a bit, but I look forward to coming down. The uphill's a bit hard work. It's levelling out a bit now. I think basically it's heat stroke, or close to. That's the challenge around here. Just your body temperature gets up and it's hard to cool down. For some reason there's plenty of wind down by the coast, but there's no wind up here, and there's plenty of sun. So I've just got to take it slowly and carefully, and it'll be fine once I start going downhill from past experience. It's just the climbing, the heat and humidity is a bit harder work. This breeze is so good. I was thinking I wasn't going to make it a bit earlier, but with a bit of breeze like this and a bit more shade and getting to the top, I think I should be able to finish what I hope to do. Just had my first dog encounter of the walk. There's not so many on Atauro Island, but when you go past somebody's house, then they do like to bark and get a bit close, but that's about it, unfortunately. So let's keep on going. This is far more pleasant. It's shady, cool, and flat. So this is exactly what I'm looking for at this point of the day. This is a secret weapon against heat stroke, hydrolytes. So they've got lots of sugar and salts and things you need. And it's an attractive colour. The downside is my fingers are so slippery and stick. I can't open it. This is interesting. Presumably I need to use this little wooden step and then crawl up this gully. Now for a spot of scrambling, although I think this is the last of the super steep bit, and then I should be flatten out. It looks like the top, and maybe this will give you an idea of what I've just had to scramble up. So yeah, that was fun. Finally get some views after all the efforts. In the distance is the mainland of Timor-Leste. Down below to the right is Beloi, and I believe up there might be Atauro, the highest point. And then there are lots of goats up here, which is always preferable to dogs, and there's plenty of goats on Atauro Island. It's quite the contrast from the last couple of hours of walking. Very beautiful. There's not much of a path here. I can see power lines, so I suspect that is the road which I originally planned to walk up before I took a slightly more scenic route. So actually I'm quite pleased with that. Rather than just walking up a road, I managed to have a bit of an adventure. Oh, at somebody's house. Back this way. So close to the road, but I think a bit of bush bashing might be required just to get there. Success. This looks like well, I should have spent the morning walking up, but the other way was probably more enjoyable, if probably slightly harder, but there's some pretty spectacular views from up here. So I'll have a quick look and then figure out whether I'm going to go back kind of the way I came along the road, or whether I'm going to push on to Beloi. Change of plan then, rather than heading on to Beloi, because I'm not even halfway there yet, and I've been out and about in the heat for 2.5 hours. I'll turn around and go down the road that I meant to come up, so at least then I can plot it on Strava and know which way to come next time. Second dog encounter of the day. That was a guy local carrying crops, and he had his dog with him, so actually was fine. I just got off the track, dog went past, all is well, but I'm kind of getting slightly more used to. I've got a bit of a phobia of dogs, but I'm getting a bit more used to how to deal with them here. I've been trying to follow the custom Google map on the Atauro website, which has a number of hikes on it, but I've basically gone past. There's no obvious where the green line goes. It's just thick bush, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there, but as long as I stick to the road, I'll end up in Beloi at some point today. Dull but fast road walking, and it's quite cool because I'm basically walking along the spine of Atauro Island. So on the left I've got the west coast, and on my right I've got the east coast. So I'm going to walk along here, and then I'll rejoin the road that goes from Atauro down to Beloi, which I've walked before, and so on the home stretch, but still quite a distance to go. I haven't done enough walking today or climbing in the heat. I decided to take a bit of a detour up to this antennae town to get a view of the west coast. Worth the detour. So on the left there is Atauro, and then coming around here where that white sand beach is down there is Atauro, which is where I stayed when I walked all the way around the island. So I can see from up here where I walked around the coast and went around and up to Untitled up in the hills, and then somewhere over here will be Atauro, probably behind that hill. So yeah, definitely worth the detour. These in the other direction are pretty impressive as well, and the distance over there is Indonesia, so Wetter Island, and then there's the rest of Atauro. Been walking for close to an hour now along this road, and I'm probably not even halfway back to Beloi yet. So I think in retrospect maybe I should have gone the other way like I originally planned, but that had a bit of off-roading, whereas at least I know exactly where I am and where I'm going. It's just taking quite a long time, and it's a bit hot, but hopefully be back in time for lunch. One of my least favourite things about hiking on Atauro Island are these march flies. You might be able to see there's quite a few on my legs. So they're just hitching a lift basically, but I tried running and they could still keep up with me. And they do bite, but normally not very pleasant. So only another hour of this hopefully. At least the scenery is still quite beautiful, and in an hour of walking I have not seen a single other person or a single house. This is very much type 2 fun. It's not much fun walking in the heat with no shade on a gravelly road with your legs covered in march flies, but maybe afterwards I might enjoy it. I'm now on the Beloi Atauro road, which is much the same as the other roads, but at least I know it's pretty much all downhill, and it should take me straight back to Beloi in time for lunch. The flies are just out of control, horrible. Oh. So I just finished the big loop. That was the longest walk I've done in Timor. It was over 16 kilometers over 4 hours, probably at least 500 meters of climbing, and lots of march flies for the last 2 hours, but no other people around. And so I probably won't be doing this walk again, but the first bit, maybe if I can then go the original way plan towards Villa, would be pretty good. But the walk on the road was a bit dull, hot, and yeah, these march flies are slightly uncomfortable. Anyway, nice to be out and about and back in time for lunch. Just a quick postscript on the video. So this is the back of my legs the following day after the march flies devoured them on the hike for 2 hours yesterday. It is extremely itchy, so in future insect repellent and definitely long pants is the way forward.